It's May 2019, and my confidence is at an all-time low. See, it's been 1 year and 1 month since I received a paycheck. And when I quit my job that I had spent 12 years creating, I did not expect that I would be in this position. See, things weren't really working out for me. Like the technology startup company that I had joined as a technical advisor and equity investor looked like it was going to be a bust. The Loving on Purpose Couples Transformational Weekend that Tracy and I had just spent 2.5 months planning for had 0 people that had registered. 0 people. The business coaching and consulting that I was so passionate to jump into, I was finding 0 time for it. On top of this, we had a house in Regina that was empty for 10 months in a dead market with 0 offers and 0 leads. So I had a whole bunch of this going out and not a lot of this coming in. But don't worry. I did what any intelligent, capable, confident entrepreneur would do in my situation. I went out and reached in the back of my pocket with this, right? And I bought a course. No, don't worry. It's not like a $99 course. It's not a $199 course. No. This course was $3,000 US. And that's not the problem with this story. The problem with this story is not that I bought a course. It wasn't that credit card that I used, it was this one. And what's important to know about this credit card, it's the only card that we have that doesn't go directly into our financials records. So it's the only card that we had that Tracy wouldn't see. So that allowed me to avoid the conversation of going and explain to her why I felt I needed this and explain to her what my vision of how I would use this training would be. In all honesty, when I bought it, I had 14 days money back guarantee. 14 days. So my plan was to check out the material, and if the material checked out, I was going to go and have that difficult conversation. 7 days turned into 14 days, and the expiry window was gone, and I had a big fat secret. Now, I think by no accident of the universe, during this same time period, I was going through my last leg of training as a master hypnotherapist. And as the last week of training, every weekend for 6 intensive weekends in basically a row, we were working and practicing with each other on our deepest fears, our biggest limiting beliefs, our biggest limiting decisions. So on the weekends, I was going through this intense personal work. And I remember I would go through the training, and then I would get in the car for my long drive home. 55 minutes from door to door. And I would get home to my house, my wife, and my big fat secret. The secret was getting heavier and heavier. I knew I had to tell her. I had to tell her. This was the person that supported me all along. And what I also knew is as the time stretched wider and wider and wider, as no money was coming in and I was trying to figure out my path, she was struggling with trying to be a supportive wife and life partner, and also freaking the fuck out because she didn't know what this meant for our financial future, for the future for our family. I knew that that was happening. I intimately knew that. That made it a lot harder to tell, but I had to tell her. I expected that when I told her, it was going to snap. The Lees do angry really well. I was expecting that, and I was ready for it. I deserved it. What I wasn't expecting was to sit in the silence of watching the person that had supported me during this whole time lose her belief. She was done. She had nothing left. And I got that. I really got that. I wanted desperately for her forgiveness. I wanted to be able for her to feel it in my bones, to see how sorry I was and to understand where I was when I made that decision. But she couldn't receive it. Luckily, I was at a point that I didn't need it. You see, the work that I've been doing in the last 6 weeks was a reconstruction to find my confidence. And luckily, I had found that I had come back to the place of abundance and creation and opportunity and love. Enough love for myself where I was no longer questioning whether or not the fact that I hadn't made it this far, whether or not I was still worthy, whether or not I was good enough. Luckily, I had come back into a better energy. And I let that energy carry me to rebuild trust. I let that energy carry me into what would be the next 8.5 months. Like in August, when we held the 4th annual I Am Festival, the biggest event we had had in a weekend of transformational experiences. Like in September, when I finally had the clarity to say no to opportunities that I was scared to let go of before. I ended my contract with a startup technology company a year earlier than I had planned. And I felt great about it. In September, I made a new commitment to a project that I had put on a shelf that I had started a year back. And that new commitment was the most important thing that I could do in the next year, was to bring something that came directly from my soul, the Life Inventory Assessment. A product that would help people find clarity, help people come back to the alignment that I had been following and very recently had struggled to find myself. That was the most important thing I could do for the next year. Fast forward to January. January 4th was the first time that those automations on the life assessment were completed. On January 9th, it's the first time I shared it with a small cohort of people. On January 15th, I received the most amazing email. And it was so validating in terms of what this tool did for the individual that had gone through it. And I'm not gonna lie, obviously validation is amazing. I was tickled pink that this feedback was coming in. But the reality was that was not what was most important. That feedback could have just as easily been telling me that I had missed the mark. And it was okay because I was now ready to hear that. Because it wasn't about what I did, but who I am. And I knew who I was. I am a connector and a creator. I'm a husband that can be trusted. And I know I can lean in no matter what's going on because our love is not fragile. I'm a father that will never quit playing. I'm a brother and a son and an uncle and an in-law that will show up. I'm a friend that sees you and that you can say anything to. I'm grateful for my challenges, past and present, because I know that they have helped me discover deeper layers of who I am. So I'm going to leave you with a question. I know who I am. Do you know who you are? Thanks.